We're taking a peek into geek culture and sharing our top 10 fandom favorites. Let Your Geek Side Show presents Geek Culture Countdown. Hey guys, this is Kitty.
And this is Susan.
And we're coming to you live from the Sideshow Studios in sunny California. Welcome back to the Geek Culture Countdown. Today we're just winging it to count down the top 10 fictional dragons across literature, cinema, and television. These magnificent monsters have acted as fearsome foes, mystical mentors, and even just flying friends to many valiant heroes across the ages. We've balanced the scales, so now listen along to find out if your favorite fire-breathing beasts made it into our hoard of treasures. Let's get started.
This was actually like a really difficult topic.
This was. So in the intro, we did mention literature, cinema, and television. There are so many other places that dragons show up, and we had to leave so many characters on the cutting room floor on this list.
But beyond that, even just narrowing it down to like literature, cinema, and television, we still had to leave so many wonderful dragons and ferocious ones.
Yes. Mm-hmm. They're all wonderful and ferocious.
Aww.
But I mean, I lumped in comic books with literature because, yes, they count.
Comic books are literature.
But fans will notice as we go through this list, we did leave an extremely notable style of dragon out of our list. We left video game and card game and tabletop gaming dragons off of our list.
Yes.
Because we do intend to visit them at a later date. There were just so many.
There were just as many. In fact, it would have like doubled the list easily. So we had to do it for a different list.
Yeah, this was extremely tough to narrow down.
So gaming dragons, entirely different list.
So stay tuned for that at a later time.
Sure.
So do we want to get started right now?
I mean, I guess. Or we could just talk about dragons. Okay. Oh, wait.
All right. So number 10 on our list is Lockheed the Dragon from Marvel Comics. So Lockheed is a longtime companion to X-Men member Kitty Pryde. I wonder why he ended up on our list.
I also wonder why he wound up on one of your dragons.
Yes.
Yeah. Hi, Kitty.
Lockheed is a cat-sized purple dragon. Purple's like my favorite color. So it was just one of these, like, please give me this dragon. I want to talk about him.
And he's cat-sized.
He is cat-sized. So, yeah, so it's clear as to why he is on our list here. But he is an alien dragon from a race called the Flock, and he was considered like a valiant hero among his people in fighting the Brood aliens who captured the X-Men. Kitty named him Lockheed after the Lockheed SR-71 Blackbird jet. So it's a style of jet, and so she called him Lockheed. And then he ended up saving Kitty and the other X-Men from these aliens, and then joined the team soon after that. And he's been a member of the X-Men, Excalibur, which is actually my favorite X team.
I know.
So I've been waiting to talk more about Excalibur characters. He's also been an agent of Sword. He helped out Abigail Brand for a little while, and he's also part of Lockjaw's Pet Avengers. So yay! Lockheed has definitely added some. Even though he's an alien dragon, he's still a dragon, and he's fantastic, and he's a brave hero who joins up a lot of superhero teams. So he's number 10 on our list.
Okay, so number 9 on our list is Falkor, the Luck Dragon.
Woohoo!
He is the companion of Atreyu and Bastian from the Neverending Story. I probably should say, in case you don't I just
start dropping all these names.
I assume that you all have seen the Neverending Story, because who hasn't? And you can sing the song. Anyway, he is the only Luck Dragon to appear in the series, although 5 other Luck Dragons are mentioned in passing. His original German name is Falkor, which is derived from the Japanese word fuku. Sorry, I'm butchering another 3 languages now. Fukuryu, which means lucky dragon, and then it was changed in the English translation to Falkor because it sounds an awful lot like a bad word. So personality-wise, Falkor is adventurous, optimistic, friendly, dignified, helpful, and wise, and he is the one who always tried to tell Bastian, never give up, and good luck will find you. Aww. So that is something Falkor does in the movie. He also helps Atreyu find a cure for the Empress after escaping the web of Yurgamal the Many. So he is an escape.
Bless you.
Just go watch Neverending Story, Kitty. Yeah, this would make so much more sense if you just watched the movie.
Yeah, this is where we admit I have not seen the film, but I know the character enough.
Oh, yeah. Everyone knows what Falkor looks like. And they know that, they see the Luck Dragon and they see the kid on the top, singing Neverending Story. Da, 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 da. So that's why Falkor made it to number 9 on our list.
All right, number 8 on our list is Norbert, later called Norberta in the Harry Potter series. So Norbert is I'm gonna say Norbert for the time being, but Norbert is a Norwegian ridgeback dragon owned by Rubeus Hagrid in the Harry Potter series. And as a species in the lore of Harry Potter, ridgebacks develop their fire-breathing abilities much sooner than other species, which is why the dragon does eventually kind of lay waste to Hagrid's hut and his beard. And so the dragon is a little too hot to handle for young Harry and his companions. Sometimes my notes are funny. And so the dragon's egg was wagered somewhat illegally in a game of cards. And then eventually Norberta had to be released to Charlie Weasley, who studied dragons in Romania, because the dragon bit Ron Weasley's hand with its venomous fangs. And then we get a nice little revisit towards the end of the series where Hagrid explains it's at the wedding, right?
Yeah.
Hagrid explains, they found out that Norbert's actually a girl, so now it's Norberta.
Yeah.
But this dragon, there's been a lot of dragons in the Harry Potter series. I mean, we've got the Gringotts Vault dragon.
The Gringotts Vault dragon, the Norwegian Ridgeback, the Hungarian Horntail, the Chinese Firebolt is the broom. Yeah.
And the Swedish Short Snout.
Yep. Among others.
So there's been a ton of them, but I think Norbert was the first one that fans were really introduced to, and especially in the movies.
I'm his mummy.
You get that childlike sense of wonder seeing the little dragon. And the reason they found out that she was a girl is because the girls of that species are the more violent ones. So
amazing.
That explains why Norberta is number 8 on our list. And I also have number 7. Woo, this is a first.
Yeah.
So number 7 on our list is Haku from Hayao Miyazaki's beloved film Spirited Away. Don't worry, I get to also butcher a name coming up.
Yeah.
But Haku is a being in the spirit world with 2 forms. One, you guys commonly see the 12-year-old boy. And then the other is his massive dragon form. I believe that classification is the lung dragon with giant... He's got a giant seafoam green mane, the really long spindly body, 4 legs, and large horns. And as a river spirit, his powers are closely associated with water, but he can also fly. And he helps Chihiro through the spirit world. And his full name, here it comes, is Nigi Hayami Kohaku Nushi, which translates to God of the Swift Amber River. So like the first part is like an honorific signifying like high status. And then Kohaku is his full name. Yeah. And then Nushi is like that whole phrase is Swift Amber River. So
that's amazing.
I like we had to put Hayao. I think when we come up with like these witches and the dragons and all the fantasy style ones, we always have to have a Hayao Miyazaki character on them because those are
their characters are so memorable and they're so just unique, but they're also culturally significant.
Yeah.
So he covers a lot of ground in terms of fantasy dragons and imagination in general.
And so Haku is number 7 on our list for definitely being one of those definitive animated, beautiful, cinematic dragons.
Awesome. Now, speaking of animated cinematic dragons, number 6 on our list is Elliot from Pete's Dragon, who's actually been in 2 different versions of the movie Pete's Dragon.
So this is Pete's Dragon.
This is Pete's Dragon. So in one movie in 1977, he was a 2D animated dragon in a like live action movie, and then now with advanced technology, he is a dragon in the Pacific Northwest in the live action remake of Pete's Dragon. So he's a CGI'd dragon. So Elliot is a dragon who has the ability to become invisible. He is depicted as a very kind character who assists children in need like Pete. Pete is an orphan in both iterations of the movie. He's very protective as a creature in general, and he appears to be kind of a guardian of children in general in the first version because he, at the end of the movie, leaves Pete in order to go to some other child who needs him. And so Pete lets him go and he flies off. And then in the new live action movie, he's more set free up in the north where he can be free with his dragon family. So they're both kind of orphans in the new movie. And he's furry. So I love that too.
This was the movie that had the song Candle on the Water, right?
Yes.
Okay. That song always makes me cry.
Really? You know that was my senior solo
Oh,
in choir?
I had to learn it. I was in a singing class very briefly, but that was the one that I had to learn.
That was my senior solo in choir.
Aww,
yeah.
That's so sweet.
So that's one of the reasons that I insisted on having Elliot was because the Pete's Dragon movie was also like the old one, the 77 version was the one. It's not 77. I keep saying that. It's in the 70s.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's definitely not.
Year.
I think I'm going with 77 because it's Star Wars. And I'm like, yep, that sounds about right. But the 1970s Pete's Dragon movie was also my like stay-at-home sick movie where I was like, I want to watch Pete's Dragon and have soup. So yeah.
See, for me, that was Winnie the Pooh, and I wore out the VHS tapes.
Yep. I did the same thing with this. So again, number 6 on our list is Elliot. He is a guardian spirit and a really friendly dragon.
Man, we've had a lot of excepting Norberta. We've had some really like friendly guardian, nice dragon spirits, and this one kind of continues in that vein. But we also
have no idea who this dragon is, so you're gonna have to teach me.
Okay, so fans are gonna. There's gonna be a distinction here again with I've got the double named dragons. This is Shenron from the Dragon Ball series, but Shenron is his name in the Americanized version, and so a lot of people also know him as Shenlong because that's he's a lung dragon, so he's Shenlong. But the American like Funimation dubs had him as Shenron, so I'm going to call him Shenron for the remainder of this podcast. But he is a divine dragon god in the Dragon Ball series, and so when all of the Dragon Ball artifacts are gathered, he is able to grant a wish to whoever summoned him, and he alternates between being sympathetic towards the person he sometimes tries to help because you know how it goes when wishing happens.
Wishing never turns out the way you think.
No, and
in
so
any form.
Sometimes that has happened, and someone wished for youth, and then instead of like being like eternally young, they turn into a kid. And so he alternates between trying to help people make the most effective wish possible and then also being like, don't waste my time. I know you just summoned all the Dragon Balls and now I'm here. And his power is so great that the other gods of the world have to kind of temper it. So when someone uses the Dragon Balls, the artifacts are spread across the globe. They can't be used for another year. They turn into stone. So his power can't really be abused in that way.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah, it's really cool. And so he's the massive green dragon. He's got big antlers and glowing red eyes. And for as powerful as he is afraid of Beerus, who is the god of destruction in the Dragon Ball universe. And then I never got this far, but as the Dragon Ball series, Dragon Ball Z, etc. evolves, Shenron also does. Dragon Ball Super introduced us to Super Shenron, and then Dragon Ball GT introduced Ultimate Shenron. So he takes multiple forms when the series kind of relaunches. But this is one of the quintessential anime dragons for a lot of people.
Totally.
And I thought it was hilarious that I was like, oh, it's Shenron for a lot of the people who watch the American dub, but it's Shenlong and the other stuff. So whatever you call him, Shenron, Shenlong, he is number 5 on our list.
You also have number 4.
I also have number 4. Give me a sec to catch my breath. So I think now, no, we're moving up into the like really scary dragons, sort of. We'll see.
I was like,
We'll see. So number 4 on our list is King Ghidorah, the golden 3-headed dragon from the Toho monster movies, the kaiju movies. And this character specifically is inspired by the Japanese legends of Yamato no Orochi, which is the 8-headed dragon. But King Ghidorah has 3. Its origin often changes depending on which movie version you're watching, but everything across every iteration of King Ghidorah, it's very consistent. He is Godzilla's arch nemesis. So in some films, the 3-headed dragon is an alien planet killer who just arrives and is here to destroy the Earth. In other versions, it's a genetically engineered creature from the future here to destroy the Earth. And in other adaptations, he's like an ancient guardian spirit of Japan. And King Ghidorah, actually, as I was researching, he frequently ranks high on just overall monster lists.
Oh, yeah, he's fantastic.
Yeah.
And he's really scary and super powerful. Like, you need Godzilla to fight him.
Yeah.
Godzilla's the only one who can fight him.
Yes. And sometimes Ghidorah has teamed up with Mothra, but also usually is against. He's just a big, scary guy. I mean, that's why they call him King Ghidorah. He's the King Kaiju. And he's going to feature, oh my God, I don't know a lot about all the monsters. I know there's a ton, and I know some of them. I swear I know some of them.
That's not what I'm just like, oh my God.
But
I'm so excited for the new Godzilla
okay, because we had one of our Geek Sideshow contributors did like a rundown of like, I think 10 other monsters, and I hadn't heard of like Ghidorah, the smog monster.
What?
But those posters for Godzilla King of the Monsters, you just get
die.
The sheer epic. Like,
I can't wait for that movie. It's going to be so fantastic.
So cool. So, so King Ghidorah is number 4 on our list.
Number 3 on our list are actually 3 dragons. So list done. No, I'm kidding. They are Drogon, Viserion, and Rhaegal, the 3 dragons of Daenerys Targaryen. Now, there's so much lore in Westeros that surround the dragons and the ones who ride them and the Targaryen house, but we don't have time to go into a full history of Westeros and how they landed on Dragonstone and all of the Targaryens, because there was the Dance of Dragons, the siege, and the first Targaryen takeover, like the first war.
Now I'm thinking we should do a Westeros then and now
podcast.
Know. Maybe before Game of Thrones comes out?
Yeah, because I actually read that huge text.
Yeah, was it the big orange one?
The big orange one.
Yes, I have that one.
Good.
I love it.
Yeah, I love it too. It reads like a 6th grade social studies book. It's so good. Anyway, but like better. Anyway, but eventually the Dragon Riders, the Targaryens, became the kings and queens of the 7 kingdoms, and they are the longest ruling house in Westeros. After Robert's Rebellion, though, the Targaryens were banished and they were down and murdered. And they were down to just Daenerys and her brother Viserion, but Viserion didn't even survive the time with the Dothraki. So Daenerys, infamously walked into the fire with the 3 eggs that she assumed she didn't assume. Everyone else in the whole world assumed that they were petrified and not viable, but she walked into the fire with them and came out the mother of dragons with Drogon, named after her love, Khal Drogo. He is a black dragon with red markings. He is larger and more aggressive than his siblings, and he is also the mount of Daenerys herself. Rhaegal is named after Rhaegar Targaryen, who was one of who was the king, right? When she was the king that was...
Is that not her older
brother?
The eldest brother.
Who was supposed to be the king, right? Okay, yeah. And he's green with bronze markings. He's yet to bond with a rider, but he does obey the commands of Daenerys. Viserion, who is named after her brother Viserys Targaryen, is a creamy white dragon with gold markings. I wrote that. He's a creamy white dragon.
That makes him sound like a Cadbury candy.
Yeah,
or something.
I was going to say he's a creamy white dragon. You just want to lick him. He's yummy and belongs in an Easter basket. Anyway, none of that's true, but I'm not sure how many spoilers we should say about the fate of these dragons. But let's just stick away from what has happened to them since then. Just know that all 3 of them were at one point in the charge of Daenerys Targaryen, and therefore they take the place because of their popularity, their rich history in the world that they come from. These 3 and then also they're the birth of a new era of dragons, if you think about it, in Westeros. So they become number 3 on our list,
and that was perfectly. I don't even think either of us were like thinking like, oh, the three dragons should get.
But we did make a joke though. We're like, oh, we have a 3-headed one, and now we have 3, and then we didn't think about that it was number 3. So there you go. So the list is done. Goodbye and good night. Just kidding. I also have number 2 on our list. Number 2 on our list is the only one that I think now is like, he is ferocious because he is fire and death itself together. Incarnate in the form of Toothless.
In the form of your house cat.
in form of like the biggest little love muffin in the whole world named Toothless the Dragon. Toothless is, though, a dragon of legend. On the island of Berk, it is thought that the Night Fury is the most feared and the strongest of all the dragons, and Toothless is a Night Fury. So after he's injured in battle and can't fly, he learns to trust Hiccup, the son of the Viking leader on Berk. And How to Train Your Dragon is a perfect lesson in how what we think about things that are unknown aren't always the truth about that particular thing. And we watch the relationship between Hiccup and Toothless grow and blossom and become the centerpiece of this entire How to Train Your Dragon franchise. It turns both of them into leaders and makes both of them better people and dragons. I can't wait for the new movie to come out. I'm so excited for Toothless to have a Light Fury. And maybe, the Light Fury will make a new iteration of this list someday.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And it's funny for me, with the How to Train Your Dragon, and you're like, oh, they make us better people and dragons. Because the franchise is called How to Train Your Dragon, and the first movie is really kind of about that. But as the series has, is it though? But as the series has evolved, it reminds me more of those stickers that people have on the back of their car of like who rescued who.
Yeah, who rescued who. No, I totally agree. It's like, because that's why I was going to be like, really, is it How to Train Your... Is it because like...
In
Hiccup,
the loosest of senses.
And Hiccup is totally saved by the relationship with Toothless as well. So it goes both ways. So number 2 on our list is Toothless from How to Train Your Dragon.
All right. So we're almost at the end of our list, but just to
spice things up,
we put the honorable mention right up here because
I was talking too much and Kitty needed to have like her last say.
No, but also thematically, this dragon that is the honorable mention and the next dragon,
they go like one could not exist without the other.
Yeah. Yeah?
No, I was just going to say, Go ahead.
All right. So the honorable mention is the dragon from Beowulf. So most of you may remember this from being asked nicely to read this in a high school English class or
it was assigned to you.
College class. Yeah. Or, you might have read it for fun because you're crazy. No, I'm just kidding. So Beowulf's dragon gets our honorable mention for being one of the first, if not the very first dragon in modern English literature.
Because I think George and the Dragon, the legend, is the only one that kind of precedes him.
Yeah,
but there's just
there's religious dragon slayer legends.
Or oral history mostly, not necessarily a dragon in literature.
Yes. Yeah, but in terms of written down modern English, even though that modern English is...
No, this is still modern English.
Yeah, but it's still...
Ancient modern English.
Yeah, it looks a little different from what we're reading now, but...
just slightly.
The dragon in Beowulf is often overshadowed by Grendel and his mother as villains, but it is the third act of this epic poem, and the dragon is Beowulf's final challenge. And in this scene, Beowulf takes because he's like a leader now, a leader among men because he's banished Grendel and he's defeated his mother. He takes some warriors to deal with the dragon that has been, he's around, and they try to steal some treasure from the dragon.
Yeah,
and of course
that's always a good idea.
Because that's a great idea. And so that angers the dragon. All the other warriors flee except for Beowulf and then Wiglaf, who's the son of one of Beowulf's buddies who kind of becomes a squire. And this is your crash course in Beowulf.
Yeah.
And so they stay to fight the dragon to the death, and the dragon almost wounds Beowulf, but Wiglaf is able to cut open the dragon's stomach, and that makes the fire that it is breathing a little less powerful, and then Beowulf is able to do the killing stroke, but both the dragon and Beowulf die in this epic moment before... Not before, though. Beowulf delivers a lesson to Wiglaf and tells him to be an awesome leader as well. And so this is also one of the first, because it's the first modern English literature dragon, it's also the first fire-breathing dragon in stories. So, I mean... Go back and reread it. I do love Beowulf.
I like Beowulf.
When you're assigned to read it, you're not having fun with it, especially if you're assigned to read it in the Middle English, because that is tough.
But maybe you should read, this is my transition, right?
Go for it.
You could read the translation done by J.R.R. Tolkien, who is the creator of the number 1 dragon on our list. Smaug the dragon from the 1937 novel The Hobbit is a powerful and fearsome dragon created by J.R.R. Tolkien, in case you guys didn't know that he wrote The Hobbit. No, that's amazing. But he is a powerful dragon that invaded the dwarf kingdom of Erebor 150 years prior to the events of The Hobbit. A group of 13 dwarves mounted a quest to take back their kingdom, and they were aided by the wizard Gandalf and the hobbit Bilbo Baggins. So one of the first places that he appears is actually in the Quest for Erebor, which is a chapter from the Unfinished Tales. That is a recount of how Gandalf realizes that if Smaug were to side with Sauron, that could present a huge threat in the War of the Ring that eventually happens. Tolkien had such a rich world, and he seriously didn't leave any stone uncovered in it. So there's... Even when you think well, what if this happened? Go read the Unfinished Tales, go read the Silmarillion. He covered it, I promise you. So this is also how Gandalf agreed to become involved with Thorin and his party taking back their home because they realize that while a dragon does know what a hobbit smells like, wow, darn, I said it backwards. While a dragon knows what a dwarf smells like, they don't know what a hobbit smells like. So assuming that Smaug would not recognize Bilbo's scent, that is how they ultimately are to infiltrate the Lonely Mountain. But similar to that of Beowulf, because like Tolkien was so inspired by the original English, the Old English text of Beowulf, or it's not English, it's whatever text it is.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever,
the characters are Geatish, which is like Scandinavian,
Yes.
but yes.
And then they have the same thing where Smaug is missing a scale in his stomach, and that is how, Bard, the bowman, is able to penetrate the like thick dragon scales in the stomach, and that's how they ultimately defeat Smaug. So that is a nice nod to Tolkien's like favorite, and then also what he became famous for translating into modern English.
You got the fire breathing and the treasure hoarding all taken from that text, which is super cool.
Yeah.
Now, though, I have to, because you've said Smaug this whole time. What do you think because I've heard, and I know people, when people say Smaug.
I say it both ways.
Say it both ways?
Like, I honestly say it both ways. Like, it really depends on what day you get me. No, I'm serious. Okay. Like, I would, if someone came up to me and even like corrected me if I was saying Smaug and they were like Smaug, and I'm like, okay, cool.
Okay.
I accept both. To me, it's fine.
Yeah.
Why not? It's always written down.
Right.
So really, it's however you hear it in your head.
That's the problem with so many of these amazing works of fiction is that if you don't have it said out loud, you're like, what is this? It sounds so weird
you
in
and
my
I
head.
just went through a whole bunch of Japanese translations that we had only ever read that were like, oh, now we have to say this. Great.
Well, I want to hear from our listeners if you guys have a particular way if you say Smaug or Smaug or Shenron or Shenlong.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, it was Norbert. No, it's not the same thing. But yeah, that's number one on our list. Smaug or Smaug, however you want to say his name.
Out of so many, now I'm thinking of all the dragons we left on the cutting room floor.
And then I remember
here.
like there were so many that we were like we really wanted, but then just had to.
We had to start getting down to a point where we had to like draw straws on like, okay, we want a Marvel Comics dragon. Is it Xiao Lao, Fin Fang Foom, or Lockheed?
Yeah.
It's Lockheed.
Yeah.
We need a Disney dragon. Which of these
we were like,
Disney dragons is it going
Mushu,
to be?
the Reluctant Dragon, Figment. Like there's so many.
But all the dragons are fantastic, and we do really hope to. We do have a list of the gaming dragons, so we will definitely visit that at some point.
Hey, maybe we do like a little poll of the dragons that were left out in the Facebook group, and then see if they want us to do kind of little shout outs to those dragons.
Heck yeah.
So if you guys have a dragon you're particularly passionate about, maybe go join the Let Your Geek Side Show Facebook group and see what we're up to in there about dragons. Rawr.
So, to recap our list, the honorable mention goes to the dragon from Beowulf. Number 10 on our list is Lockheed. Number 9 is Falkor. Number 8 is Norbert or Norberta. Number 7 is Haku. Number 6 is Elliot. Number 5 is Shenron or Shenlong. Number 4 is King Ghidorah. Number 3 is Drogon, Viserion, and Rhaegal. Number 2 is Toothless. And number 1 is Smaug. So, was our list fearsome and fun, or should we train our dragons a bit better? If we missed someone that you think should be on the list, be sure to check out our blog and send us your opinions at podcasts@geeksideshow.com. And that was our top 10 fictional dragons. Do you enjoy the Geek Culture Countdown? We are proud to bring you pop culture content completely ad-free, but that doesn't mean we don't need your support to help keep us going. Please take a moment to leave us a 5-star review on iTunes, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting platform and help spread the word about our podcast. We welcome fan feedback. Email us at podcasts@sideshow.com with your thoughts and suggestions for how we can make our shows even better. Plus, tune in for our other pop culture podcasts. See your favorite comic and film characters evolve across 2 generations in the bi-weekly Then and Now podcast. Hear exclusive interviews with celebrities and pop culture industry leaders as they let their Geek Side show in Look Who Showed Up. Then get all the latest pop culture news with our daily briefing, a 2-minute breakdown of all the biggest geek headlines perfect for your Alexa or Google News briefings. We wouldn't exist without your continued support. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to let your Geek Side show.